All right, so now I went through and I pulled all my selects. So we went from an hour of footage to now just about 4.5 minutes of footage. So I have all the best shots. And next is well, first of all, we're gonna go ahead and drag in our possible music tracks. But what I also want to mention is it's a little bit tricky to organize or at least order a demo reel. When you shoot a project, you have an overall rhyme and reason for the ordering of shots. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end. In a demo reel, it's just this huge collage of different shots. But you want to keep in mind that you want to try and find some kind of intro opening shots, some maybe middle exciting high energy shots, and somehow find some kind of good conclusion ending the video type of footage. So, right off the bat, I know that I do have kind of a handful of these eye shots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy that shot. I'm gonna scroll to the front. I'm gonna create some room here, and I'm gonna put this shot at the beginning and this one as well. And we're gonna try to do some kind of cool multiple eyes opening to open the beginning of the video. So I'm gonna just scroll through here real quick. Yep, this shot. Okay. So you can do the similar process for your footage. If you have multiple styles or multiple of the same type of shot, like if you were doing some kind of sports demo reel and you had a bunch of maybe dunks, you know what I mean? Or you're doing some kind of clothing video and you had a bunch of shots where you're tying the laces on your shoes on multiple, like 10 different pairs of shoes. You could put that at the beginning, like boom, 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 and that could be the opening if that was the type of demo reel you were doing. So let me just finish going through here. I feel like there's one more. Oh, yes, there we go. Boom, baby. All right. So, yes, we got, yes, right here. Okay. Now, I'm going to place this at the beginning. So, we kind of have a rough, maybe set of opening shots. Of course, the pacing and the timing is like not set yet, but we have some kind of similarity between this grouping of shots. And I'm gonna grab our possible music tracks. Now, what I did here to gather these tracks, and let me go ahead and put them all into one sequence so we could talk about them. What I did here was I knew what I wanted in mind. For my specific kind of demo reel, I know I don't really want vocals because that can kind of have too much emotion behind it, or the words of the song can be a little bit too dissonant to what you're showing. So if the song is singing about a breakup, that's not going to work for a demo reel. You want to be careful about how much emotion your song is going to have. So you want it to be right amount of energy without being too high. Okay. So we definitely talked about this earlier in the course, but let's see what our options are. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's a little bit on the not so bright side, more on the dark kind of trap music side, but we're gonna save it. I'm gonna do blue. Okay. That one's kind of cool. It's got a little bit of a corkiness to it. I don't know how much I'm feeling the corky, but I'm gonna do the maybes orange. So And what I'm doing here is we're going to go through because when you pull possible tracks, you want to have at least three to choose from. For a video like this, where I really want to nail the track perfectly, I'm going to do more than three options, like maybe six. And we're going to just go ahead and try to get rid of what we definitely feel like is not going to work. That way we can kind of narrow it down a little bit easier. Oh man, I'm feeling like all of these are just maybes. So I haven't found one yet that's like a hell yes. Now there's one more track that I actually also have that let's see what this sounds like. Okay. Let's try this one out. So in the next video lesson, we're going to drop in our track. Okay, so I'm going to take my first choice track. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to go ahead and paste it into our sequence. Now, before we start editing, we want to first make sure that this potential track is going to be, the ideal track to use. So, with nothing edited, we're just going to hit play and we're going to sit back and see how the edit is flowing and feels. Okay, not bad. I'm actually really liking that. So, I say it's a go. I think that this is a good track to use for the edit. Now, sometimes, let's take one of our second options and let's go ahead and paste it in over the one that we're going to use. And you think, okay, this track's going to be great. And you hit play. And the potential track that might have been good, it just doesn't, match. So sometimes the first track you try and paste in, boom, it's perfect. You're good to go. Sometimes you have to try a few different tracks. In this case, we got lucky. The pacing, the energy is perfect for this track, and it matches the vibe of a lot of these shots, which are a lot of them are slow motion shots. So next, when we were listening that first time, I definitely heard that this intro is really slow and very kind of like, how do I say this? Yeah, it's like turning on an old television or an old vinyl record. So these quick shots that we originally wanted to put at the beginning, this is not going to work. So what we want to do is to lock our soundtrack because we don't want the soundtrack to move. What we want to do is move the other stuff around our soundtrack. So because we want to kind of build this out chronologically, it'll be easiest from beginning, middle to end. Let's scrub through our demo reel and find those more potential, elegant, slower types of shots. I'm thinking that some of this underwater footage would be perfect for that. So let me grab the more slow ones. I know I have the underwater footage that's more high energy, so we'll leave that. But let's grab, yeah, these slower ones. So I'm gonna grab them. I'm gonna scooch everything over, and boom, I'm gonna paste them in, and let's see how this is looking. Okay, that's feeling way better. Okay, cool. So we just need to kind of increase the pacing here a little bit. And what I'm going to do is just quickly cut to the beat. So as we play it through, I'm going to make quick cuts as I feel where the next cut should be while listening to the track. Okay. So let's see what we did. Okay. And now I definitely want to have something special for this moment. And let's see if we scooch everything over how these will cut together. Okay. This shot's okay. It's kind of boring compared to all this great other stuff. This one's a lot more high energy, so we don't need this eye shot so much. Let's go ahead and delete that one. Okay. Let's try. And a lot of this is trial and error. So I'm just going to try to reorganize things, change the, orientation and the pacing a little bit until I get something that feels good for now with this cool big moment. Oh, okay. Now we're talking. Ooh, perfect. Okay. It's just the timing is a little bit off. Okay, that is really cool. So all this is actually syncing up pretty nicely. What I'm going to do is because I want this to get sooner to this. Okay, so if I unlock this track, I want it to transition on this sound. Boom, right there. So I'm going to hit a marker. So we have a marker right there. And I want the transition to be here, which is this marker. So we're going to bring up our time remapping tool and we're going to do a little ninja work here. I'm going to speed. Actually, I'm going to create two keyframes. Boom, boom. I'm going to speed up this center area just like that and kind of smooth this out. Ooh. Okay, it's a little bit late. Not bad. Okay, so you see how we have slow pacing at the intro. Any song that you choose is going to have an intro, an exciting part, a mellow part. Well, okay, any song that you choose is going to have an intro, a build, exciting part, a mellow part, another build, and then another exciting part, and then an outro. So what we're doing here is we're following that kind of template of our intro here. And as the excitement builds, we go into the higher paced shots with more movement. Okay. So this one's a little bit late. I'm going to scoot this over. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. Now, because we're working with content that's already been exported, if we had the raw video files we were working with, which you can do it that way, you can drag in the files directly from, the other project, but it's more time consuming. We don't really need to be that specific and that precise for this edit. So that's why I'm using the time remapping tool so that we can speed up where the cuts are where we need. Now, I don't want to have too many of these style shots from one video back to back. In a demo reel, you kind of want to have multiple shots sprinkled in with each other, because you're showing a variance of your different skills, right? So let's move on to a different set of footage. I'm just going to pull over the rest of our shots, and we're only 20 seconds in and we're starting to look pretty good. So let's just take a second to look back at what we've done so far. Okay, cool. So there's a few little things in there I would change. I'm going to move that over. Okay. And there's a noise here that's like the doom, doom, doom. And I want to have something cool for that. So I'm going to just scroll through and see what would match up with that noise. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see if we can get this to match up. I don't know if that's going to work, but let's give it a try. And let's bring it over. And let's paste it in. Okay, so actually, yeah, let's grab this shot and put it in front. I'm going to hold Alt, actually Command, and drag it in. Okay, let's see. And let's move this over as well. So all I did there was held Command and push these back. So let's move this over slightly. And okay, so I think we're gonna get something here. Let's watch it back. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, I'm cool with that. We're about 30 seconds into the edit. In the next edit, we're going to continue to refine our first rough edit.